Good morning, my Teaserking family. How is everybody this lovely Friday morning, Friday the 27th? After looking at football, and I've been very careful this week because I will not lose this week. I have found I got 5 locks going, 4 in college. I'll probably have more locks in pros. I'm waiting on some injury news. I played 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 strong plays, 12 strong plays, and we had the Army yesterday. So I am in good shape. I like when I get that Thursday night win. It's always nice to get that Thursday night win. So as we always do, let's first check our gold price. 26.58, a little bit of a put option going on at 26.68 down at so it's down $10. Not sure what the fuck the U.S. is doing with the 10 o'clock put, but it won't last. I think 26.52 is as low as it'll go, and then we'll get back into the 26.70s. Break 2,700. It seems a little bit sticky at about the 26.80 level, but we're fine. 26.56. It's derivative time, and China's like, oh, good, we can buy it. We can buy it for 26.56 instead of 26.66. But we'll see. We'll take a look at it later. Silver was 32.10, is now, if you notice, the same exact chart. Here's the gold chart. Here's the silver chart. Oh, it's exactly the same. So silver was up to 32.27. So it's been in the 32s quite a bit, but it's not getting, it got to 32.60, but it's not staying there, although it's only 31.82. So I have a feeling it's about to go. I think I might go buy silver today. Again, gold 26.56. So really good. Take my time. I've got enough information in college and pretty much in pros to really go, this is a good team or bad team. I did not play the Dallas Giant game, and it ended about what I thought. I think my score was 24-10 Dallas, and the final score, I think, was 20-15. I mean, Dallas just sucks. Their coach, Dak Prescott's got to go. What are the Giants? Is their defense getting better? We know that Daniel Jones sucks. To give up 15 to him is ridiculous. Now let me get that. What was that score? Let me get that score. Micah Parsons got injured. 20-15. That tells you something when you get a team. So I had 24-10, 20-15. I didn't play it. I circled the under, didn't play it. I thought about the under. Micah Parsons gets injured, it looks like. Huh? Okay. So I've got up to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 locks in the pros, waiting on some injuries. And then we'll see. I do have 4 locks in college going. I love the college this week. Let's see if there's any news. And that's without knowing about Cam Rising, which, of course, we're all getting sick of hearing about. we've got to watch the hurricane. So I've been a little slow putting my picks up because of the hurricane. I just posted them now. Most of these are away from the hurricane. UCF, I love, but I'm waiting because it's not in the hurricane. So here's where a hurricane will kill Colorado because all they can do is throw. You can't throw in a hurricane. So if it's very windy, it's a huge plus for UCF because they run the ball down their throat, and Colorado throws and can't throw into a wind. Colorado has no defense. So it's all UCF. Just let me know what the weather is. So I have a friend in Tampa. I'll talk to him. It's a tomorrow night game or tomorrow afternoon. So we will see. Tonight, Virginia Tech, Miami of Florida. So we'll have to see what's going on with that. So let's take a look at our things. Now, again, there's the class tonight, 7 to 8 on Zoom. I got a Zoom link. That way we can talk back and forth. I will go through all my games, all my picks, all my locks. Here you go. $25. Can't beat it. Not for the skill set you're getting. And then if you just want to buy the picks or buy the locks, this is a great week to do it. So this, last week I wasn't bad. And I went 4-5 and 4-1 in my locks, losing the Cincinnati game, but the college locks was 2 for 2 or 2-0, whatever you want to call it. I didn't lose. The Baylor over Colorado and the BYU Kansas State game under. So they were both easy. Well, Baylor was winning the whole game. They were up 14, and then they stopped scoring, and then they were up 31-24 late. So I had 8.5. So that was not a sweat. A little bit of a sweat in the other game. It shouldn't have been there. It was all these turnovers by Kansas State. So look for them to play better this week. Free pick. The Buffalo-Baltimore over in the pros. It's 46, over 40. Love it. Got an email from a customer saying, well, what do I do? 46.5, 40.5. When I make a lock, I'm not predicting it's gonna be 41, 41, right? I'm predicting in my score, this will be like, a 34-30 game, right? I'm looking at a 60-point game, right? Look how Buffalo is just annihilating. Baltimore can't hold the lead. They're getting tired. Lamar, we'll see what he does against Buffalo. Von Miller's back, but Buffalo is going to light him up. The way they've been playing the first 3 weeks, this should be high scoring. Now, Buffalo's not at home, but Baltimore right now is a 26 defense. They're not this 10 defense or 15 defense they normally are. Buffalo is 16, but the way Baltimore beat KC and then last week against Dallas, they're not going to have a problem. They're putting up 400 yards a game. So I see this at least being 24-20, which is a 44, which is a winner, but I actually think it'll be like 31-28. So when I give a lock, don't worry about a half point. Don't buy it. Just play the game that I'm giving you. And, when I lock something, it shouldn't be close to the line, right? Like when I locked Kansas State, it shouldn't have been that close, but it was like a 47. The lock was 54.5. Go under that. So it really wasn't. It was within 7, but it shouldn't have even been that close. My lock on Pitt and the Rams last week, or the Chargers, was under 40 something, and it was 20-10. It was a 30. So when I'm looking at the concept of the game, the theory of they're not going to score a lot, field sucks, great defense, it's an under team. Same with San Diego, and that's it. And so that's kind of how I was viewing the game. Um, all right. That was Jenna. All right. She's in Russia. It's about 6 o'clock now. So, where was I at? So again, I'm picking most of these games. I'm, whatever I pick, it's not close to the spread. I'm not, maybe the 7.5. So I'm going, well, they might lose by 7, but usually I'm picking a dog because I think they're going to win. I'm betting against 30 defenses in college and whatever 25 defenses in the pro. So I'm expecting a good offense to score a lot. Now I'm noticing like James Madison last week puts up 70 on North Carolina. And I'm going, wow, okay, that was a real team. That wasn't a high school team. And so you've got Ball State. Sorry, I'm teaching. I've got, they're playing Ball State this week. And Ball State I got as an over team with the 44 defense. And James Madison, I don't know what they are now. They put up 70. And so I look at the line, it's 21. And then I look at the total of 57. And I'm like, shit, they put up 70 on North Carolina. So I'm expecting a high scoring game in this game. So if you go over 51, I'm not thinking they're going to win by 52. I'm thinking they're putting up a 50. And Ball State's an over team's going to put up something on James Madison. James Madison is not a 5 defense. They're 21. So in this game, I would think it'd be a 75-point game, roughly, maybe, somewhere 40s to upper 20s, 65 to 70, and we only need 51. That's the concept I have of how I pick the games. It's not, well, it's 51 and it goes to 58. Should I go 52? Yeah, because I'm thinking it's a 70. I'm not playing games that are going to be close to the line, and that's why I make my own scores. And then I see what happened, and then I see this is a perfect game for James Madison. Ball State's got a 44 defense. Now, I don't know who they've been playing. I know probably Ohio State or somebody, but when you put up 70 points on North Carolina, and I watched the game on the highlights, it was not like 8 pick sixes. It was the quarterback running around and North Carolina going, wow, he's fast, as they watched him score touchdowns. So with this quarterback, we're going to get points. But then it becomes, do I go 21 or do I go, take James Madison minus 15? And I go, well, I would if the over-under was 70, but the over-under is 57. I go, 51's a joke. This is where Vegas fails, and this is where we clean up on Vegas. Vegas is not taking the full complement of the thing, right? They're not looking at what happened last week. They're looking at the whole year and in this game. And this is where we catch them. We caught them with Van Dyke and Rising and the Georgia defense and all this stuff. When it changes, they're not up. They're just like analytics. Okay, what's the score for the year divided by 5? Okay, boom, boom, boom. This is what it should be, 57. And we're laughing hysterically going, this is a 70-point game and I can get a 51 in a teaser. And that's how I catch Vegas. That's why I make my lines. That's why I make my score. Because I can do it a lot better than they can. And I've been doing it a long time, since since the 70s. So the nature of the game's changed from the steel curtain to the Niners to Lawrence Taylor, and now it's more where's the defenses. The analytics in football is as bad as baseball. I was watching the Tiger Tampa Bay game yesterday, a little, like an inning or two, riding the bike. And it's the same old story. Tampa Bay's leading 3-0, and the manager pulls his pitcher after the 5th inning, and they lose 4-3. Now he's shutting them out with like 2 hits through 5. Why are you pulling them? Right? If you leave them in, they probably win 3-0 because the Tigers can't hit them. And you bring in another guy because analytics says he's pitched 65 innings or he can't go through the lineup 3 times or whatever. It's all bullshit. And it ends up where the Tigers win a game they should never have won. And it's the same thing with Seattle. Seattle had them twice, and then they pulled their starter in like the 7th inning. He's got him on a 1-hitter, and they lose the game because he pulls the starter. And I'm glad he lost his job. He doesn't know what he's doing. And I find most of these managers in baseball and in football don't know what they're doing. They don't have a feel for the game. They just use the analytics. I'm supposed to go for 2 here. Oh, it's 4th and 2. I'm supposed to go for it because analytics say I need to go for it. Why is it all analytics now? Who says that's good? That sucks. It's a terrible thing because they're not looking at the negative. They're only looking at, oh, yeah, the chances of him getting it are 51%. But if they don't get it, they lose the game like the Lions and the Niners, right? In the championship game. He never looked at if I don't get it, I lose the game. He only looked at it, I'll get it because it's 51%. Yeah, but that's not even against the Niners. It's just the 51%. So he gets that, and that's what he does. So that's where we're at with it, is taking apart their bad lines and this analytics. So believe me, I don't think there'll be too much analytics in Georgia, Alabama. Now, will the Hurricane get it? I have played the game. Will the Hurricane get there? I don't know. It's supposed to go, but the Hurricane was supposed to hit last night or maybe today. The game's tomorrow night. The game's tomorrow night, so it should be calmer by then. The field, I don't know if it's going to be all wet or not. We will see. But that's where we're at. Okay. So let's go with the line. Now, we know this hurricane is in Tampa. It's affecting the Buccaneers and UCF. I saw some heavy winds in Miami yesterday, but I don't know, are they still there? And it said highest wind gust in Miami, 50 miles an hour. But at what time? That was just the highest for the day. So is Miami, going to be windy or covered? We don't know. But all we can do is look at the line. The line did go down from 19 to 17.5. And the over-under did not go down. So that tells me the weather's fine because the over-under would have jumped to like 50 had there been a problem. We know how explosive Miami is. Virginia Tech's pretty explosive. I got a 10 defense Miami against the 23 defense in Virginia Tech. And Miami's getting 560 yards a game to Virginia Tech's balanced 380 drones. Their quarterback is pretty good. Miami's been blowing out everybody. So, I'm like trying to figure out Miami, Old Mississippi, who's blowing out everybody and go, all right, are these people for real or what? I'm not sure, but it'll help tonight. Tonight we got 2 games. Second game's Rutgers 1.5, 44.5. I did play the Rutgers game. I don't see a weather. Washington played a tough game with Washington State, so we got a little bit of a feel on them. Rutgers has been playing very well. I think we locked them last week. Well, I need the college. All right, where's my college? Looking at my 2023. Okay, there's my college. So Rutgers, they beat somebody pretty good. They beat Virginia Tech 26-23, which then parallels with Miami and Virginia Tech. That was a 49 with Rutgers. And then Rutgers now has Washington, who's a 10 defense. So in this game, we've got 1.5 and 44.5. We've got a 10 defense in Washington playing a 16 defense in Rutgers. And Washington's struggling offensively a little bit. They've only got 427 yards a game, but they didn't score a lot on Washington State. Rutgers has been playing well. They did go to Virginia Tech and win, and they beat somebody else. They're a very explosive team this year. Well, they got very good running and as strong defense as they always have. So I look at the game, a 10 defense and a 16 defense. That's my focal point on the game there. That's why I bring in the defense into it. Offensively, it's a 471 Rutgers and a 427 Washington. But if we look at Washington State, they are a over team with a 500 yards of balanced offense and a 30 defense. And Washington didn't do much on Washington State's defense, and they did hold their offense down. So that's kind of the method to my madness. All right, so those are Friday's games. I did play the Army yesterday, Army -6. They win 42-14. Go Army, beat Navy. Army just ran it down their throat. They've been passing the ball very, very slyly. Everybody's pulled up, and everybody's, they're running the option down their throat, and then they see the coverage they want, and they go back, and he hit 2 27-yard passes to 2 different receivers yesterday. You can't stop him inside the 10 because the triple option. The pro teams should take notice. If you want to have these running quarterbacks, you should be running the wishbone inside the 5-yard line. You can't stop it. So I blame Baltimore there. You got Lamar. You need to be running that wishbone. You got Henry. You got another running back. What the fuck are you trying to make Lamar throw the ball for? He can't throw it. There's no room. If you run him, though, you're not going to stop him. You cannot stop the wishbone inside the 10-yard line, first and goal from the 9. You can't stop it because it's just all they're reading you, and whoever fucks up is what they do. And they're fast, and they know what they're doing. They know what they're going to do, and you can't practice it. So if I was Baltimore's coach, I'd be running wishbone inside the 10, and I'd score a touchdown every fucking time. And I'd do it with all these other Richardson at Indy and whoever the other running quarter, maybe Kyler Murray. He didn't do any options last week against the Lions. I don't know why. They could have optioned Hutchinson all day. They could have just let him come in, and Murray could have ran around the side. And they just scored and scored and scored. Not real smart. See, they're trying to be NFL and throw the ball when – why do you think Oklahoma won all those games and Alabama running a wishbone? You couldn't stop it. They still can't stop it. So if I have Richardson and Lamar and Kyler Murray, Jalen Hurts, I'm running wishbone at the 10-yard line, and it's touchdown, touchdown, touchdown. Or the Dave Casper play would never got stopped by Oakland. Did you ever see Dave Casper covered at all, ever in that play action pass at the 2-yard line? Play action pass to Hubbard, and Dave Casper would fake blocking, go into the end zone, and it would be nobody within 10 yards of him. Why don't we see that play? It only worked every single time. I mean, these coaches today are just so fucking stupid. All right, let's go on. We've got, we got Ole Miss down to 16-53 to Kentucky. Yeah, they might be worth betting. I haven't bet them yet. 16 over under 52.5. That's okay. That stays. So 16. Why are they scared of Kentucky? Because of the Georgia game? This is a whole different offense. The game's not in Kentucky. This game is in Ole Miss. And Georgia was thinking about Alabama, not thinking about Kentucky. Ole Miss, they got a 6 defense. I don't believe it. I mean, let's see them against the team. But Kentucky's not going to hurt them because Kentucky gets 300 yards of offense. The Ole Miss gets 600 yards of offense. All they got to do is win by 10. I will be shocked if they don't win by more than 10. 16.5, 52. Now, the over I don't know about because Ole Miss is scoring a lot, but they didn't score that much last week against, was it Wake Forest or somebody? And this is conference play. These are SEC teams now. They're not going to put up 80 points, but Kentucky just has no offense. A 300 offense against a 600 offense. Now, most of it's been against high school teams. So we'll see it go from 637, and after they're done with Alabama and Georgia, it'll be about 437. Georgia will not. Georgia will not give up 20 points to Ole Miss. See, that's when Georgia gets nasty. So they start playing teams like Ole Miss, going, "Oh, you think you're good? Yeah, you think you're better than us? Okay." Baylor, 3.5, 47 to BYU. BYU with a ferocious defense, a 13 defense. Baylor with a 17 defense. Baylor, what can you say? How can they recover from last week? And then BYU just kicked the shit out of Kansas State. What did Kansas State score on them? That score was 38-9. And you gave 9 points to Kansas State, and most of BYU's were fumble returns. They had a kickoff return where the guy botched it. It went back to the 2-yard line, and then he ran the other way 100 yards with the punt return, and then they had a fumble return for a touchdown, and then they had another pick that ended at the 10. So a lot of their points were just off of Kansas State turnovers or the punt return. Baylor was held to 31 from Colorado. Baylor's got a good running back. I'm not sure I love their coach. I think he's got a fucking idiot. So you got a 13 and a 17 here. You got an 18 BYU, a B team Baylor, 400 yards. Guess Baylor only getting 321. Baylor did switch quarterbacks, and he looked better. Robertson is better than Finn, which isn't saying a whole lot, but that's this game. I don't think weather is going to be in Texas. Big Nebraska, 10-48 to Purdue. Who knows who Purdue is? We're trying to see who Purdue is. 35 defense, but it was against Notre Dame, and then Oregon State killed them. Nebraska, shocking loss to Illinois. Not a shocking loss. It was shocking the way they lost. It went to overtime. Illinois is a very good team. Let's put it that way. Nebraska laying 10 on the road. Purdue has no defense. That's clear. Notre Dame put up 60, only put up 14 on Northern Illinois. So we know Notre Dame's not your big explosive team, and yet put up 6. Now, I didn't see the game. I don't know how many were turnovers, how many pick sixes. So this is a tough game because I don't want to lay on the road in the Big Ten. Now you're in conference. It's hard to play road favorites in conference unless they start with Ohio State, Alabama, or Georgia. You don't really want to be playing road favorites. Total of 48. What do you do? Nebraska with the 13 defense, Purdue maybe a 35, both teams 300 yards. Interesting game there. Coach Bo -10 to Minnesota, 36.5 I see. So it's gone from 9 to 10. Heavy action on Michigan with a 36.5 total. Minnesota with the 13 defense, Michigan with the 21. That was mostly because of Texas. And then USC did put up 24 on them. I don't buy. Minnesota's got a good coach and a pretty good defense. And I don't buy this orgy guy's just going to hand the ball off to the fullback and he's going to go 50, 60 yards up the middle 3 or 4 times. I'm not buying it. Minnesota really plays good defense. Michigan cannot throw the ball. Their quarterback cannot throw the ball. I looked at his stats. He's thrown for 18 yards, right? Mostly comes in to run, but their quarterback throws too many interceptions, so they pulled him, but this guy sucks. I don't see how you can win. I mean, okay, go to the wishbone, I don't understand, but if they're just going to hand the ball up the middle and hope he breaks one every week, you're not going to do that against Minnesota. So this is a tough game. I really can't get my hand around it. I'm too afraid to take Minnesota in the points because it is a strong defense for Michigan. I can't play Michigan because they don't have a quarterback. It's like betting on Richardson or Lamar in the pros. So I'm watching this game. I think Michigan wins it, but if Minnesota won, would anybody be surprised? Absolutely not. UConn 5.5, 44.5 to Buffalo. This is down from 6.5. 5.5, 44.5. So we've got UConn 27 defense, Buffalo 19. Buffalo with a whopping 268 yards of offense, where Connecticut 369. We've got Buffalo just beating Northern Illinois, which was a shock. I watched the highlights. Northern Illinois was up 14-0, and Buffalo got a pick 6 and just kind of played really strong defense on them. So Buffalo has a good defense. UConn is an over team with the 27 defense. I think Buffalo is a live dog here. I'm not going to play them, but I think they're a live dog. All right. BC and Wake Forest. BC is now 13 and 55, 54.5, whatever. Western Kentucky, an over team with the 26 defense, did have a couple of blowouts at home against weak teams. BC, they beat Michigan State last week in a close one. 15 defense. They got that pro coach from Penn State, from New England. Never really liked them. A balanced 374 offense. Western Kentucky, a passing 310. Good passing attack usually. The defense is a little weaker, but again, they lost Alabama 38-0. So you can't take that game away, but, this is BC, not Alabama. Interesting game. Again, BC's playing well, but Western Kentucky can pass. So, it's a hard game to call because can Western Kentucky throw on them and score enough on them? And then BC can score. So I'm not sure what to do with this game. So I'm going to watch it. Indiana, 7 and 52 to Maryland. Very good game here. This was 53, went to 52. Indiana with a 9 defense, Maryland with a 17. Maryland did lose to Michigan State at home. 444 offense for Maryland, 480 balance for Indiana. And we watched Indiana beat UCLA 45-10 at the Rose Bowl, which is very impressive. They got the James Madison coach. The quarterback looks good. The defense is a fucking 9. This is a very good Big Ten team here. Maryland, okay, they're going through. They lost Tagovailoa, new quarterback. Should be a good game here. Kansas State, Oak State. I got Kansas State 57.5, up from 55.5, which I'm really shocked because Kansas State's got a great defense. Kansas State with the 20 defense, Oak State with the 21. Oak State more passing. They're not using Allie Gordon. So I don't know if the defense is just stacking a line saying Bowman beat us because he's not a very good quarterback. So they're more passing 390, and K-State is more of a running. Their quarterback's more of an option, dual threat, but he runs a lot. They had fumbles were not his. One was a handoff into the line with a minute left in the half. The guy takes it back for a touchdown, and I'm got the game locked under. And then the next play, he throws it. The guy catches it, runs 5 yards, fumbles again, and BYU gets it. So it was a nightmare the last 2 minutes of the half. I'm at 6-0 under 55 going, oh, this game's over. And then now it's 17-6. I'm like, fuck. So with that said, K-State's going to run it. That's what they do. That's what they've been doing under Bill Snyder. And here, kind of the running quarterback who can throw and a strong defense. Oak State, they had trouble against Utah till the end of the game. K-State's just as good defense. Utah's defense is what? It's a 13 defense. Yeah, Utah's got a real mean defense. Where K-State's is a 20. But they gave up 21 points on fumble returns and punt returns. So it's probably more like a 14 because the points get added, but it's not really defensive points. There's got to be a way to say, yeah, but this wasn't defensive points because their defense is probably a 15 and Oak State's is a 21. And, Utah beat them without Cam Rising. So they beat them pretty good. The score at the end wasn't indicative. K-State off of a loss. I can't see K-State losing at home to Oak State. Oak State, Bowman, I don't really like. Allie Gordon's not getting the ball. He should be carrying it 25 times a game, especially in this game. So I don't know what to do with it. I think K-State off of a loss is the better team here. Navy against UAB. Navy 3.5, 57.5. Navy's an over team, believe it or not, with a 25 defense. They rush for 445 yards a game. UAB is an E team with a 24 defense, and they're a balanced team, 377. So it becomes excuse me. So it becomes an interesting game because Navy, they will wishbone you down at the 10. And that's why they've been scoring. I got them mostly running. So they're not, Army is passing the ball much better. They see no safeties and they're just, the guy's doing a fly pattern and the quarterback hits them and they're gaining all these yards. Navy isn't doing that. It's only 3.5. How good or bad is UAB? 24 defense, 25. Interesting game. I don't like, Navy is a road, like Army I took as a road favorite yesterday. But I love Army. They're my team, and Temple had a 37 defense, and Army got 42 points, according to Hoyle. Navy here is playing a 24 defense in UAB, and if UAB gets up on them, then Navy's got to run, but can they run? Navy gets some problems when they get down. They have to pass. They're not a passing team. So a lot goes by the score here, but this is a tough game because, the defenses are pretty decent. I'm looking for my bitches, which are 30 and over defenses. That's who I want to bet. It's the art of war. We're looking for weakness. The 30 defenses are the weakness, right? That's like why I bet yesterday. And that's what I'm looking for always. Purdue with the 35 defense. We'll go through all those at the end. Northern Illinois and NC State. We got NC State laying 7.5. It was 6. Is the Hurricane a problem here? 46.5. Doesn't look like it. It's more going up to Tennessee and Alabama, Georgia area. But once it's inland, it doesn't blow as much because it blows more because of the hot air and the cool air over the water makes it really windy. But once you're on land, it's not hot and cold, and it kind of dies down. You get some rain, but that shouldn't. It depends who's playing. So we've got Northern Illinois, who beats Notre Dame and loses to Buffalo. God, what in the hell? They are an A team with the 17 defense, a balanced offense that used to be in the 700s is now 462. That's why you need to wait 4 or 5 weeks. Now we see more of what Northern Illinois is. The quarterback threw a pick 6, and that's how Buffalo won the game last week. NC State, a B team, got crushed by Tennessee. They got crushed by Clemson. They have no defense. This is a 38 defense. You've got a explosive Northern Illinois offense going against a 38 defense who got hammered against Tennessee and Clemson. Northern Illinois, good quarterback, good running. North Carolina State, 300 yards of offense. Granted, you played Tennessee and granted you played Clemson, but still. 38 defense. And you got NC State laying 7. You could have Northern Illinois in 13. So I don't even have to win. It's just like Notre Dame. I took them plus 34 just on the principle that Notre Dame has no offense. They're not going to beat them by 50. They did beat Purdue because they lost, but I was dead on. I didn't actually expect them to win, but I thought they'd get 20, and I thought it would be like 30-20 Notre Dame. Here, Northern Illinois can easily win this game. NC State gives up so many points, and this is an explosive fucking offense. Even now, it's balanced with 462. They played Notre Dame. They played Buffalo, a good defense. See, they lost to Buffalo, a good defensive team. Buffalo is a 19 defense. Here they get a 38 defense. That's our concept, right? They're going to have a much better game. Will they win it? I don't know. But they're getting 13 points. Hard to believe with 13, they're not going to stay in the ball game, right? So again, that's the science. That's the art of my plays. Bad defense, good powerful offense. How the hell are you going to stop them? That's why I get scared when I see a 10 defense. I go, these guys aren't going to do shit. All right. USF, South Florida, against Tulane. Very good game. Tulane minus 5.5 and 62.5 down from 64. Is this a weather game? No, well, it's in Tulane. Tulane's in New Orleans, Louisiana. I don't think it'll be bothered. Definitely in South Florida it would have been. South Florida is an over team. They score. They got a 30 defense, a balanced, mostly running attack, 400 yards a game. Tulane, a balanced 25 defense, also a balanced 400-yard game. Tulane played Oklahoma, lost 24-19 or something. We had it under. We won. South Florida, we've been murdering them against these weaker defenses, but this is a tough one because Tulane's a 25. Now, their coach is now at Houston, Willie Fritz. So they don't have the quarterback, and they lost some defense, and they lost the coach. They did get a new one, but it's not the same. You've got to adjust to it. South Florida, over under a 62.5. It's not like they're going to stop Tulane either. So it gets risky that Tulane could light them up and win by 20. But I think the prudent player is the over of 62. You have a 30 defense and a 25 defense. We're not looking at a Houston defense or Alabama defense here. So prudent would say it's probably going to be in the 30s. It's 62. You go to 56. I haven't played this game, but the thoughts there. I got to study some Tulane, but that's the idea here. This could go over. James Madison, Ball State. James Madison, 21, 20 and a half, 57. So we have a team that put up 70 on North Carolina with a super fast quarterback. It's like, think of Kyler Murray as their quarterback. Very fast. All North Carolina did was go, wow, he's really fast. Touchdown. Ball State's an over team with a 44 defense. But they can score, and James Madison with the 21 defense. Now, Ball State's got more of a passing team with 328 a game. James Madison's very balanced, very good running, 436. Over under a 57. Now, is James Madison going to score 70 here? I don't know. It's tough because they did it on North Carolina. They didn't do it on Eastern Carolina. And Ball State's a 44 defense. Here's where it gets tricky. You're laying 20, but Ball State can score. Right? They are an over team. They might give up 44, but they score 44. So, very interesting game. I would think you'd get a lot of points in this game. Texas State against Sam Houston. Sam will be in attendance, watching his school. Texas State, 9.5, 55.5. Down from 56.5. Texas State's an A team with the 23 defense. Sam Houston's a very good team, a B team with the 21. Texas State's more of a passing team. They got a great quarterback, 450 a game, mostly passing. Sam Houston, more of a running team with the 331. So will Sam Houston run? They have a very good defense. Take the air out of the ball, or will Texas State? You just can't stop them. They're a good game, but it's not an easy one. You're not playing the 35 defense. You're playing a 21 who's been playing very well. This is a game I think we watch. I don't even know over or under because Sam Houston seems to run and play lower scoring games, but Texas State scores a ton. So it's kind of a converse game where one strength goes against the other strength, and they're in different worlds. So it's hard to play this type of a game. Marshall, 454 to Western. Marshall. Here they go. This is the one that jumps down. So basically, it was 3.5, 54, 4.5. Same thing. Western. Now, nobody knows Western. That's why I do this. Western's an over team with a 38 defense. They're a balanced offense, 346 a game. Marshall is a B team, 28 defense. They mostly rush for 300. They played Ohio State last week and scored, and then Ohio State got mad, and then it was all over. But they did put up 14 in Ohio State, so they can score. Western with a luscious defense, 38, but they can score. So hard to say what to do here. Shouldn't be a weather problem. Marshall's in West Virginia. So we'll have to see. Western, over team. Do you go over in the game? I don't know. I don't Marshall. It's a little skewed because Ohio State put up 50 points on them. But should be a good game. Should be high scoring, I think. Georgia State, Georgia Southern. We got a rivalry game. Georgia State, 3.5, 58 to Georgia Southern. It hasn't moved. Is this going to be a hurricane game? It doesn't look like it as of now. It's 58, and it stayed at 58. I think tomorrow morning, this game, you got to check the line on going, did it go to 56 or 55? Because if it is a hurricane game, you bet all hurricane games under, because you cannot throw in the wind and you can't run in the rain, and it's all you're turning it into an Army Navy run punt, run punt, back and forth. It gets very difficult. So that's where we're at. So check it in tomorrow. But Georgia Southern's an over team with the 35 defense, mostly a passing team, 311 a game. Georgia State, it's an E team with a 30 defense, and they pass for about 400 yards. So you would think it'd be high scoring. Georgia Southern, I thought, was the better team. They're getting points. And again, probably I wouldn't bet this till tomorrow if you're thinking of it because of the hurricane. I got burned once on the hurricane where I had two loaded over teams playing in Florida, I think, or North Carolina or South Carolina. And it was like 6-0. And there was a hurricane and 50-mile-an-hour winds, and they didn't score. So I learned my lesson. Ohio, 10-47 to Akron. Down from 12. Don't know why. 47. So from 46. So you have Akron, a Z team with a 43 defense. They get a whopping 238 yards. Now, they did play and got killed by Ohio State and I think one other team that they shouldn't have been playing. Ohio is more of a W team. They don't score with a 26 defense. They get 361. I mean, this is just clearly two weak offenses, and Akron's got a really bad defense, again, playing Ohio State. So this turns into, what do you do with this game? See, here, this is where I don't like taking against the Z team, because Ohio is nothing, right? It's a minus 10. They're laying 10, but they don't score a lot. So I could cut it to 4, and all they got to do is win, and you think that can happen, especially against Akron. But Akron's in Ohio. Ohio's in Ohio. So this is not the game I'd be looking at. Vegas, 2.5, 50 to. This is a strange game because the Vegas quarterback's out because he didn't get paid, so he's crying and taking his ball and going home. So whoever the backup is going to be the quarterback. Fresno State, we got Mikey Keene. They played at Michigan, and they played pretty well. They're both A teams. Vegas, very good 14 defense and run for 400 a game. And Fresno State, Mikey Keene passes obviously for 400, a 20 defense. More like an 18 because Michigan had a pick 6. I'm shocked this line's going from 48 to 50. And I don't understand why the line went from 2.5 to 1.5 to 2.5 again. That doesn't make a whole lot of sense. My thought is Vegas, great defense, Mikey Keene. Well, Mikey Keene, even if they get down, keep him in the game, probably. Look what he did against Michigan. I mean, I don't know how strong Vegas's defense is. It ain't stronger than Michigan's. I mean, it's a 14. They did kill Houston. They also beat somebody pretty good. So Vegas is a real strong A team. All right, they're not a Z team, which is why we grade it. So, you could tease the dog. I don't think I'd go over in this game even though I got Mikey Keene, I got this no quarterback for Vegas and a very strong defense. So it's a strong under against Mikey Keene. It's a tough one to pick here because I like Vegas, but I'm not going to fuck around with Mikey Keene either. Central, 2.5, 2.5 to San Diego State. I will call it 53. I had 54. Central, an over team with a 32 defense, 400 yards a game. San Diego State, an under team with a 22 defense and 300 yards a game. So it's the same old San Diego State. We don't score a lot. We play defense and we run the ball. And Central with this good offense and no defense. So it's hard playing Central in this situation against a strong defense. They won't do much. San Diego State can't do much. It's just, it's a watch game. USC 14.5, 51 to Wisconsin. This went up to 16, and now it's 14.5. What the fuck's going on? You playing games with me with these lines going up and down? So 14 goes to 16, goes to 14. What the fuck? The analytics people wanting to take 15, and then they bet on Wisconsin. They got their number at 16, and they're betting it back to 14. Wisconsin, an under team with 23 defense, 313 offense balance, but they don't have Van Dyke. He's out with the knee, right? You get USC, a B team with a 16 defense, which I question. They don't tackle very well, and they're obviously a passing team, 435. What the fuck happened? They lost to Michigan, letting a guy run up the middle for 60 yards. Like, what the fuck? And their guys didn't even know how to tackle him. They're not even in position. They can't read the play. He turns around and hands it to the guy. You got at least 3 seconds to get into the hall. So they're not there defensively. They're not a 16. That's bullshit. They're more of a 20, 24. They do give up the pick six. Let's call them a 19 defense. Wisconsin normally with a good defense, but you've lost Van Dyke. You've lost your quarterback. Wisconsin, hell, fucking Bama puts up 41 on you, which shouldn't have happened, but okay, we did win the under on that game. So I don't know here. I think USC off the loss at home. I think they have a good time with Wisconsin. I think they throw the ball all over the place, and Wisconsin, really, what are they going to do? They have no quarterback. The backup, how good's the backup? And USC's pretty decent defense. Does it get over 51? Hard to bet. If Van Dyke's here, this isn't over. But without Van Dyke, I can't play Wisconsin. But it's a big number for USC against Wisconsin. So we'll have to see. But I think they bounce back after the loss. They're at home. And again, in the screwed up Big Ten, you've got middle teams going to the West Coast. What is that? That's ridiculous. Stupid. I don't think this league will last too long. You got tonight Washington flying to Rutgers on a Friday night. Don't these guys have class? And now Wisconsin going to USC. USC came to Michigan. Ohio State's going to go to Oregon. Washington's coming to Michigan too. Really screwed up. They were worried about air miles. Now they're about air cost. And now apparently that's not an issue. And by the way, this NIL money does not come from the college. It comes from the boosters. So that solves one of the things. But the boosters don't have a contract and don't have to pay, apparently. So watch for them reneging on a lot of these deals. And the players, like Googly Boogie, you think he's going to get 5 cents the way he plays? I don't think so. Liberty, 3.5. Boy, 62.5. Same spread. Liberty an A team, 21 defense, balance, 454 a game offense. App State's a W team. They do not score that much, even though they got Joey Aguilar, 36 defense, but a lot of that is Clemson, 66. So I don't think their defense is that bad. They're normally a really good team. They got a new coach. They still have the quarterback, but they don't have the defense. before they would never have lost to Clemson 66. They'd have played them 30-24. So we got two 400-yard offenses. Aguilar, good quarterback. 36 defense is the problem. Going against Salter, a really good quarterback for Liberty. It's on the road, which hurts Liberty. I actually don't know where Liberty is. Is it North Carolina or Virginia or South Carolina? I think it might be North Carolina. App State's in North Carolina. That I know. 3.5. I hate the road favorites like this. However, they're going against a 36 defense. So, maybe Liberty probably wins this game because App State's defense is that bad, if it is that bad, because Clemson lights them up for 66. So I'm not on App State in this game. It's either Liberty or don't play it, and I haven't played it yet. Notre Dame, -746, up from 6.5 and up from 45. Louisville an A team with 11 defense. Notre Dame an A team with a 10 defense. Louisville balanced offense, 500 yards a game. Notre Dame a rushing offense, 385. Riley Leonard. If Louisville takes the lead and Riley Leonard's got to throw them back into it, they're dead. This should be a real tight game and a real low-scoring game, I believe, with these defenses. Keep that in mind. I gotta make a change here. All right. So I think this is a very tight game and low scoring. I don't know. Let's see how good Louisville is, but they beat my Georgia Tech team, so they get credit from me. Good game here. It's a 3:30 game. All right. UMass and Miami of Ohio. Miami of Ohio is -17.5, 45.5. Down from 47. We'll call it 46. UMass is a Z team yet again with the 33 defense and a little bit more passing, 339 total offense. Miami of Ohio is an under team with a 23 defense, but they only get 286 yards a game. Their quarterback went on, and so they're struggling. I know they played some good teams, and that's probably why their offense sucks, but this is, again, I don't like the unders against the Z teams. I prefer the A's or the overs against the Z team. So should be Miami should win the game, but it's a big number to cover for a team that can't score. The Jerry Dome game. A&M 5.5, 52 to Arkansas. Up from 4.5. A&M switched quarterbacks. They don't like their quarterback. They've switched them. Arkansas is a B team with a 20 defense, 479 offense, balanced. A&M is an A team with an 18 defense and mostly rushing for 400 yards, and I think they went to a rushing quarterback. 5.5 certainly makes me tempted on Arkansas and 11. This game's usually close. Usually at the Jerry Dome. I don't know if it is again this year. Being that Jerry's an Arkansas guy. Arkansas has been playing well. They both, A&M kind of, didn't they struggle last week? I think. Oh, yeah, they played Bowling Green like 34-29. The Bowlers have been giving people problems this year. 26-20 over Bowling Green. We'll get to in a few minutes. Where am I? Okay, A&M. Okay. So their offense is not very strong. Their defense gave up 20 to Bowling Green. So you beat Bowling Green 26-20. I got a feeling Arkansas can win the game. And you're getting 11.5. That's a pretty big, number to get with Arkansas versus A&M even. This is an even game as far as I can see it. So obviously like the dog in even games. Wake against Lou Lafayette. Wake. I hate their quarterback. I hate him. Backenmeyer's terrible. 3.5 and 60. We'll call it 60. We've got Louisville with is an A team with a 20 defense and a balanced 431, and Wake Forest is an over team with a 28 defense, and they pass mostly for 428. Wake just got killed by, I think it was Old Mississippi by 50 points. Lou Lafayette played Tulane pretty good, lost close game. Lou Lafayette's one of the better, I think they're, Sun Belt teams. Won a lot of money on Lou Lafayette. 28-20, or 28 defense to a 20. I think Lou Lafayette can play them close. I think they're a live dog in this game. 60 over 60, I don't know. But I do like that Wake's got a 28 defense. So I don't know. It's hard betting Lou Lafayette's against Wake Forest, but I do think they're a live dog here. And I'm not giving you my plays. I'm just giving you how I feel the game will be. Oklahoma, 1.5, 45.5 to Auburn. What do I got? Oklahoma is a B team, but I look at them as an under team. 15 defense, 263 yards of offense, and they're switching their quarterbacks. Now, the highlight is they held Tennessee to 25 points. That's the highlight of it. They did switch quarterbacks. I love how they blame the quarterback. It's his fault. Auburn's a B team, 17 defense. They are balanced, 411 yards a game. I think it's Hugh Freeze, good running coach. I don't know, because Oklahoma's switching quarterbacks, so you don't know what you're going to get. That's where you got to be careful. Auburn lost to Cal 21-14. So, again, it's matchup time. I think they don't score much on Oklahoma, and you don't know what Oklahoma's got. I'd like Oklahoma if they were the dog here, but as the favorite, I don't really love them. And it's 15 defense and a 17. This should be low scoring, but you got to watch the new, Arnold's out at quarterback. They brought in the other guy. Well, if the other guy's all that, why didn't they start him? So this is a watch. Hard to win in the SEC on the road at Auburn. They play Alabama every year. This is not a big deal. They play LSU and Georgia. So this is a yawn game for them. Oklahoma is not in Alabama, Georgia territory. So we'll see. Probably a lower scoring, but based on the defenses. I mean, they played Oklahoma 16-12, beat Tulane 24-19, and then last week they held Tennessee to 25. So, yeah. Eastern Michigan, 45.5 to Clark Kent. The Clark Kenters, here it is. Down from 15 to 14. I'll put 14 and 45.5. So the money's going on Kent and the under. Why would anybody bet Kent? Kent, Z team with a 51 defense, and I know they played Ohio State, I believe. 161 yards of offense. Eastern's a B team, 20 defense. They're a balanced offense, 307 yards. 20 defense, 51. There's no way in hell you can bet Kent State. which leaves you, do I take Eastern? They're not that strong of an offense, but who they played, it's a road game. So this is, I'm going to watch, but I think EMU can hang in, can get the W. UCF 14-62 to Coach Prime. This has gone down. This was 64 down to 62. I think it might even been higher. This is right in the eye of the hurricane. This is a game that I like UCF, but I can't play it because of a hurricane. So this is if the weather. This is Saturday at 3:30. So we'll see if the weather is calm and the field's okay. Then we can bet this game. Otherwise, in a hurricane, I can't bet this game. If it is windy and rainy, it's a huge help to UCF because they run the ball. And Prime can't. He can only throw because of Prime Jr. He's trying to get him in the Little League. So he'll be his coach. He can draft him. I love the game if it's dry and calm. At this point, I don't. This is a wait and see weather game, right? We know what UCF. We know Colorado has no defense, and basically UCF would put up a 60 here, but we are at the weather's mercy. So we have to wait till tomorrow to see how the weather is. I'll call my friend in Orlando, which is where UCF is. And if he's nice and calm and dry and the hurricane missed us, then yeah, we'll play it. Otherwise, you just can't fuck with the hurricane and the weather. You just don't get points. Kansas, 2.5, 59 to TCU. Let's go 2.5, and we'll go 59 to TCU. TCU is an over team with a 32 defense. They played. I think Southern Methodist is still scoring on them. That was like a 60-40 game. They're a passing team, 443. Hoover's playing much better this year. They don't have much running. Kansas, Jalen Daniels or whatever his name, another Daniels, has been their starter and been hurt for the last few years. Is playing. He's getting better. There was a lot of picks, but the last couple of weeks he's been getting better. This would be an automatic over the last few years with Bean at quarterback. They're getting better. I don't buy their 20 defense. They haven't played anybody like TCU. But TCU with the 32 defense. This should not be weather problem. Over under 59. This is, I don't think they're going to stop TCU much. I think TCU can score on this team. But I don't know if Kansas can stop TCU either. If Kansas plays their offense, then this becomes high scoring. So I don't like Daniels as much, but we'll see. He's been hurt, so he hasn't played much. So he's starting to get better. So we'll see. This is like, is Kansas an over again? Can we start betting them over like we've been the last 3 years? Duke 2.5, 56. Whenever you get these problems, it's always the quarterback, right? Michigan, they suck this year because they don't have a quarterback. Notre Dame sucked those other years. They didn't have a quarterback. So the quarterback's the key, especially when he gets injured. So we like Mikey Keene and we like Cam Rising, obviously, if they play. Let's see. Duke 2.5, 56. 2.5, 56. That line hasn't moved. Will this be a hurricane game? Well, in North Carolina is pretty close to Tennessee. Maybe not, because the hurricane tends to spread out over a wide mileage. North Carolina, obviously an over team with a 70 defense. No, it's a 29 defense. Balanced offense, 434. They do have a good runner. Duke is a B team with a 15 defense and a 360 offense, mostly passing. This is a big rivalry game. Normally, I take the dog in this game. What do you do to a team that gives up 70 points to James Madison? What are you supposed to do here? I'm going to watch this, but this is a tease the dog game. East Car 355.5 to UTSA, down from 4. East Car is a W team, or no, UTSA is a W team with a 32 defense. Frank Harris is gone. I think they still have the same coach, but they're looking terrible this year. East Carolina is a B team with an 18 defense. They played Liberty pretty good last week, I believe. Strong defense, 400-yard passing a game. UTSA passed 335. East Car, I think you just go against the 32 defense here. Texas against Old Mississippi State, who they lost to Toledo. They gave up 60 points to Toledo. Last week, they gave up 40 points to a Florida team that couldn't get 10 on anybody. Arch Manning or Peyton Manning or Eli is going to quarterback. Maybe Archie will quarter. 38.5. That's what the line's been. 62.5 down to 61.5. Old Mississippi State, an over team with a 31 defense and passes for 377. Just what the Manning boy is looking for. 38.5. The line, they got a 6 defense, an A team. So they're scoring a ton. It doesn't matter who the quarterback is. They should light up Old Mississippi State, who I think their quarterback's out too. So they basically have no offense and no defense against probably one of the top 3 or 4 teams in the country. I'm not going them ahead of Georgia. Sorry, not going to happen. 60. This should be a shutout. This should be 48-0, somewhere in that neighborhood. I don't think I'd go over in the game versus taking Texas. So if you think you like this game and you're thinking over, you're not getting points from Old Mississippi State without a quarterback. And with Texas, the way they're playing, it's just going to be score, score, score. They put up 31 on Michigan. So I think Texas is definitely blowout here, but they're playing nobody. Bowling Green, speak of the devil, against Old Dominion. Bowling Green played Penn State 34-27 and A&M 26-20. Hello. Bowling Green I have as an over team with the 26 defense, a balanced offense, 400 yards a game, playing Penn State and A&M. Old D's a W team with the 27 defense, 343 a game. Again, the line's 9.5, 51.5. I got to go bowling here. I mean, this is Old D, it's a 27 defense. The only weak point here is Bowling Green's 26 defense, but they didn't get beat they barely lost to Penn State and A&M. So they played the big boys. They were at home, and Old D's a W. So, this is like, let's go bowling here. Absolutely. L-Tech and Florida International, 2.5, 50.5. You've got L-Tech with a 23 defense and only 233 yards a game on offense. Jesus Christ. Florida International, an over team. They're better at home. They do have a 33 defense, and they have passing more for 334 a game. 51 here. I got a feeling this will go over. But L-Tech doesn't. I mean, they get 200 yards a game, but again, who did they play? And Florida National, I remember they played Central Michigan, and they put up like 60 points on them. This is one of these games it's kind of a shot in the dark. It's never what you expect. I think Florida International gets the win. I don't know, which might go over, but you got Florida International with the 33 defense. So hard to bet on a 33 defense. Troy against Lou Monroe. Troy is 745.5, down from 7.5. Lou Monroe's an under team, 24 defense, 234 total offense a game. Troy's an even team, 29 defense, probably a 24 offense, 309 a game. I have no idea. Troy's, I hate their coach. Lou Monroe, it's not Lou Lafayette, so it's who the hell knows. Troy's in Alabama. Will this be a weather game? And obviously Louisiana, Monroe's in Louisiana. So Troy, being in Alabama, could get some of the hurricane. Be careful with this game. Iowa State, Houston, our free play. Iowa State is up to 15-16. And over under, still at 43.5. I've given you under 49.5 in this game. Iowa State with 400 yards of offense. Rocco Breck, good quarterback. Houston's playing lights out defense. They only get 271 a game. I got Iowa State winning, let's call it 31-10. Somewhere in that neighborhood. Iowa State's strong defense. I mean, they held that Iowa runner. That runner looks very good at Iowa. Just like Golly Gordon did last year. Tough defense, Iowa State. Houston's playing, they held Oklahoma 16-12. They lost to Cincinnati 31-0 last week. I don't think they score or very low. And Iowa State, they'll win comfortably. It's a tough number, 16. I'm not going down to 10, but I think Iowa State wins. I always like Iowa State. I normally bet them under because they have a killer defense that nobody seems to know about. And I mean, holding, the Iowa game was 1917 Iowa State. And, but Iowa State had a great defense to hold Iowa to 19 points. Because now you say them last week putting up some 30 on Minnesota. So again, I think this is definitely under 49.5. Should be no problem. North Texas, 768. To Tulsa. Tulsa, an over team, 30 defense, balanced offense, 400 yards a game. North Texas is explosive, over team, 6.5, 35 defense, and they're more of a passing team, 460 yards a game. This game has the making. The problem with this game is a 68.5 number on over. So 62. So are we going to get into the 40s in this game for both teams? Can't be a 40-20. It's got to be 40-35. Will we get there? Most likely we will, but it's a tough one. Tulsa, I got to study them a little bit more. North Texas, we know they're good for 50 points in this game easily. I'm going to rate their score 50. I don't know what I'm going to get from Tulsa. And, because the problem with North Texas is no defense. So it's hard to take North Texas even because, they're just going to not be able to stop the other team, which should lead to a high score, but you've got a 68.5. We had 69.5 last week against, where's that one? I thought it was last week. Maybe it's page 2. Where was it? I know I played it. North Texas. They played Wyoming and beat them 44-17. But Wyoming was a 33 defense with no offense, and they still put up a 61. The total on that game was 55. So imagine North Texas in a 55 game with Wyoming. I did play it heavy North Texas -1 because I knew they'd score, but Wyoming couldn't keep up. Here, Tulsa can keep up. 68. You think they should be able to get there. It's a high number. We'll see. It should not be hurricane related, so this could be a play here. Could be an over. Clemson and Stanford. Clemson 21.5, 57.5. That line hasn't moved. This could be hurricane related in South Carolina, although it's supposed to be on the Gulf Coast and in Texas, Tennessee, and Alabama, Georgia more than South Carolina, but you never know. Stanford's a very good team this year. They're a B team with a 22 defense. They pass more for 325. Clemson is now an over team, not like the team that played Georgia 31-3 or 33-3. A 30 defense, and that's really not from Georgia because Georgia put up 33 on them. They have played other games, so their defense is a little bit weaker. Stanford passes 325. Clemson, Kubiak's been passing and running 432 offense. Clemson's 30 defense. It's a big number against Stanford, who went to Syracuse and beat them. I don't think Clemson blows out Stanford here. Over under 57. It could get there because Clemson's 30 defense. Stanford they played Syracuse, I think it was 27-24. They played a 51 with Syracuse. Clemson, I don't know. Clemson's been scoring a lot, but that's against NC State, which apparently everybody scores on NC State this year. So it's a tough one to call because it's a big number. Stanford's a good team with the 22 defense, so they're not explosive enough to really take advantage of Clemson's 30 defense. It's a tough one. I don't think I could play Clemson -15. Do I go over or under? I don't know what to do with that either. Is Clemson really a 30 defense? So I don't know. I'll watch. Rice 6.5, 47 to Charlotte. Charlotte's the Z team, 37 defense. They only get 267 yards a game, the perfect team. Rice, an over team with the 27 defense, balanced. Kurt Warner's kid is the quarterback, and they're balanced with the 300 offense. They're only laying 7. This is kind of what you like against the Z team. At least they score more. Definitely think Rice wins the game, and that's the beauty of the 7-point spread. All they got to do is win by 1. And if they win by 1, it's a push. So all they got to do is win. So very good on Rice here, I think. Memphis against Middle Tennessee. Memphis, page 2. Lane, 25.5, 61.5. Middle Tennessee, another Z team, a 43 defense. They pass 344. Memphis, an A team. What are we laying here? 25.5. And 61.5. Okay, so Middle Tennessee's a Z team with a 43 defense. They pass for about 344. They're normally a decent passing team. Memphis, an A team, 21 defense, and they pass for 430. South End again, good quarterback. At home, I think they lost last week. They lost to Navy 56-44. They scored 44 on Navy's probably pretty good. So what do we do here? So 44 on the Navy. They should be in the 40s here. And what does Middle Tennessee do? So I think Memphis cleans their clock. All right, game of the week. Georgia, I'm going to say 1. And this is up to 49.5, 50. Wow, I can't believe this game's going up. I see a 50.5, so I'm going to take that. What can I say? I got Alabama -3. I got two A teams going at it. I got a 6 defense and a 9 defense. I got a 50.5 total, and I got a 372 offense in Georgia and a 435 balanced in Alabama. I have played this game. I don't know at this point. If Alabama goes favored, to 1.5, 2, I would take Georgia as a dog because Georgia ain't never a dog. Neither is Alabama as a home dog. So this game, I don't see 50 points in this game. I don't know where they're getting that from. Alabama played Wisconsin. It was close and tight until Van Dyke goes out, and then and Georgia. Forget the Kentucky game. I think it'll be more like the Clemson game. They'll put up in the 20s. Alabama will be in the 20s, and maybe it might not even be a 20 game. It might be 1917. Georgia will be on fire. It's a revenge game, and Alabama. Their defenses looked okay, but they haven't played anybody. Okay, they beat Western Kentucky, but really, and they haven't really played anybody. The Wisconsin game was a joke. Van Dyke went out. Georgia, okay, they lost that. They played 13-12 to Kentucky, but they killed Clemson. Don't forget that. Georgia, when they are focused, and they've had 2 weeks. DeBoer, what's he going to do? Milrose will run around, but I think Georgia is ready for that. So this should be a very good, tight game. Ohio State, Michigan State. Ohio State 23.5, 48.5. Ohio State, of course, an A team, number 1 or 2 in the country, 7 defense, and a 500 balanced offense. Against Michigan State, who's a B team with a 14 defense and a balanced 377. We saw Marshall put up 14 on Ohio State last week. 23. It's a little big number. Michigan State's not that bad. Their quarterback's kind of weak. I don't know what to do with the total, 48.5. Seems low for Ohio State. We can go over 42.5, which seems really low. Because Ohio State can get 42 by themselves. I think Michigan State gets some scoring. Ohio State gets a lot more scoring. I know the Oregon State coach, who's Michigan State, played Oregon, Washington, Utah, USC. So they're not scared of Ohio State, but they're giving up 27 to Maryland and Boston College. They're playing, so you're giving up 27 of those. Wait till you see Ohio State. So I don't know. It's a tough number, 23.5 to cover, but I think there'll be points in the game. Illinois, Penn State. Penn State, 17.5, 47.5, or 18. This should be a very good game. Illinois went to Nebraska and beat them. And they put up 31. Their quarterback, Altmaier, looks very good. Penn State, with the Kansas offensive coordinator, has been scoring more, although they did play Bowling Green, 35-28 or something like that. I think this would be a lot closer score than I don't see Penn State winning by 18 here. No chance. Both have 13 defenses. Both are A teams. Penn State's getting 500 yards offense. Illinois, good passing, 372. And they put up 31 on a very good Nebraska defense. Nebraska's got a 13 defense also. They put up 31. So keep in mind the 13 is just a guide. Now, they did play West Virginia, Penn State. And as I said, they gave up 20-something to Bowling Green. Illinois could put up 31 on Nebraska. Yeah, this game is going to be close. Absolutely. And I wouldn't be surprised if it was more scoring than they think. South Alabama and LSU. Interesting game. South Alabama is a very explosive team, an over team with a 26 defense. The line, LSU 20.5, 65, down from 22. 65's been the total. That hasn't changed. No hurricane because it's way west. Both are over teams. South Alabama, 26 defense, gets 500 yards a game with a balanced offense. LSU, 25 defense, and gets more of a passing attack, 416. They don't run it. I think South Alabama gives them a game here. I think they can definitely they'll be scoring in this game, I think. Or it'll be a high score. Cincinnati, T-Tech. T-Tech is 358.5. Up from 2.5. Okay. Cincinnati's a B team. Sorsby's a good quarterback, a 16 defense, and a balanced 461 offense. Texas Tech's an over team with a 33 defense and a passing offense 462. So the difference is Cincinnati can run it. Texas Tech can't. And by the way, Texas Tech with the 33 defense got blown out by Washington State. Now this should be a good game. Very good. SMU, Florida State, ugly boogly again. SMU's up to 6.5 from 5.5, and 47.5 is the total. Ugly, what can I say? He's a terrible quarterback, but they still have that 20 defense. Now here's an example. They're a passing team with 227. The Florida State getting 227-yard average on offense. Are you kidding me? SMU, an A team with a 23 defense, more of a rushing attack, 326 yards. They struggled and then woke up against TCU's defense. Florida State's defense could keep men, but ugly boogly, I can't win it. Should be an interesting game. I think SMU gets the W though. My Air Force, 434 to Wyoming. Good God, 34. What are they? Iowa. Air Force is an under team, an 18 defense, that option play, rush for 209. So the quarterback, they get a new quarterback. He's not doing it. They're not getting that explosive running offense. Wyoming, a Z team with a 36 defense, getting killed by everybody, 198 yards of offense. So you got two weak offenses going. This would be an under game, but it's 34.5. Is it going to be a 10-7 game? It wouldn't surprise me. Wyoming better at home, but their defense sucks. But Air Force won't take advantage of it being more of a running team. What are they going to do against it? So I don't think we'll see. It's probably under, but it's a hard 34 to go under 40. New Mexico State, New Mexico 9 and 55. We'll call it 54.5. Let's see. We got New Mexico's an over team. They've been explosive with a 45 defense, more of a passing team for 432 yards a game. New Mexico State's a Z team, 31 defense, and 204 yards of offense. You would think New Mexico would win, but it's a rivalry, and they have a 45 defense, which means just, New Mexico, this could be their highlight of their season. I don't know. These rivalry games, I like the dog, but I can't play that here. And then I don't know. Should be in New Mexico if you can get it under 3, maybe. It's 9.5, 9. A normal game. Washington State, Boise. Boise is 6.5 and 64.5, up from 63.5. Both teams are over a 30 defense, Washington State. A balanced offense, 500 yards. Boise, 32 defense, balanced offense, 500 yards. They have a great runner at Boise. Yeah, look for points in this game. Utah, Cam Rising's out because this line went from 11 to 7.5 and 47.5. Now, this is interesting. The total didn't go down. You'd have thought if Cam Rising was out, the total would go down. So why is this? It's not near the Hurricane. It's in Utah. This is a really strange line. Arizona, an over team with the 27 defense. Fafita, very good quarterback. 437 yards of offense. Utah, an A team with a killer defense, 13 defense. A balanced team, 379. Good running backs. The backup quarterback is okay. It's Zach Wilson's brother, the guy who got drafted. He was at BYU. He looked great. Went to the Jets. Didn't look great. But so did Sam Darnold, who now looks great. So this will be interesting here. Utah down to 7.5. It's a whole different perspective. So we assume Cam Rising's out, but we'll double check that. I just think it's too much defense. And why didn't the over-under go down? And last but not least, Oregon and UCLA. Oregon, 25.5. That number didn't change. And 55. Oregon, an A team with a 21 defense, a more of a passing attack with Gabriel, 457 yards, a lot of big plays. I watched the Oregon State game, and Gabriel ran a lot. He'd run an option, and nobody would be there. So it's all formations, getting the proper thing, and they just lit it up. So 457. UCLA looks terrible. Indiana killed them. They barely beat Hawaii, and then they got beat by LSU by 20 last week. A W team, a 30 defense. They're struggling. Their coaches are not coaches. 290 on the ground. Ethan Garbers is terrible. So that could be like if you need a game at midnight, maybe you go with Oregon, the 11 o'clock game. God, I don't want to bet it because I don't want to be up till 2 a.m. getting the score. I did that last week with the Kansas State lock, Kansas State BYU lock, and it's 1:30 in the morning. I'm like, don't let them score. Let's end the game. I couldn't believe the game was still on. It's like, fuck. Fortunately, I won, so I could sleep well. But it was like, I don't like these 11 o'clock games. So Oregon should take care of business. UCLA, I mean, the coaches, Deshaun Foster's not a coach. The defensive coordinator was a line coach. They don't really have coaches, and it's starting to show. They can't adjust. LSU, beat them pretty good. And obviously, Indiana just destroyed them. And I would think Oregon's going to do the same thing. So, out of this mess, I've got 1, 2, 3. I got I didn't even put that. So out of this mess, I have 4 locks in college with 1 in pro already posted. That's 5 locks. And I already played Army yesterday, so you missed that one. That's why I suggest you buy on Thursday nights so you catch that game. I played 3, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. I played 14 plays with 5 locks. 4 college locks. I just love it. And there's of what I just read, there's probably another 5 or 6 games that I didn't play that I could certainly play based on weather. I'm loading up on 2 that I'm waiting on the weather, and then now I got to rethink Utah. Even without Rising, Arizona doesn't have a defense, and then Oregon I didn't play because it's too late. Alabama, Georgia, I did play, but we'll see. Anyway, that is so that is college. It's a long class with college. So tonight, if you sign up for the tonight, so that was just a little synopsis of the games, right? This is over, this is under, this team, that team, but not pick, just noticing the games. Tonight, I would go through all my picks, all my locks, what I'm betting on, and my synopsis of that. Like I said, for $25, you can get the locks, or you can sign up for the locks for $77 and get the locks plus the pro lock. You wouldn't get the pro lock in here you just get the college games. But if you bought the locks, you obviously get the pro lock. There's going to be a couple more pro locks waiting on injuries. And there'll be a whole shitload. I'll probably have 7 or 8 pro games. And now I've got a good 3 weeks of data. So now I'm like, oh, I'm not betting Detroit over anymore because they're not an over team. So now I understand what the teams are a little bit better. I only get caught once. And last week I was very proud. I locked Arizona, not the over in the game. Before I would have locked the over and I would have lost. Taking Arizona 9, I won. So let's get on to the pros. Now, the only game I know in the pros that can be affected by the Hurricanes Tampa Bay. Let's look at them. You got at Indy, no. At Green Bay, no. At Houston, no. Atlanta's in a dome. The Bears, maybe a little bit. It could be affected. Tampa, yes. Carolina, yes, could be. The Jets, no. Arizona, no. Frisco, no. Oakland, no. San Diego, no. Baltimore, I don't think so. Miami, yes, but it's Sunday night. And Detroit's in a dome. So it's basically Tampa and maybe Carolina. All right, so let's look. We got Pitt 1.5 and 40. Lumber hasn't moved. We got Green Bay 2.5, 43.5 to Minnesota, hasn't moved. Houston 6.5, 44.5 to Jacksonville. We got Atlanta 2.5, 42 to New Orleans. We've got Chicago 3, 40.5 to the Rams. So that could be a little weather coming in. We've got Philadelphia 1.5, down from 2.5. And 43, 42.5. So it's down to 42.5. Let's call it 43. Again, you have that's right up the alley there where you could have a lot of rain. Cincinnati 4.5, 47 to Carolina, Andy Dalton. The Jets, 7.5, 39.5 to Denver. Arizona, 3.5 and 50 to Washington. Frisco, 10.5 and 40.5 to New England. Oakland, 1.5, 37 to Cleveland. That was 2. People betting on Deshaun Watson, really. KC, 7 and 40. It sounds like Herbert will play because the line's going San Diego and the total went up. Baltimore, 2.5, 46.5 to Buffalo. Miami, how can they be favored? Miami, 1.5, 36.5 to Tennessee. Tagovailoa is out with concussion. And the Mighty Lions, 3.5, 46.5 to Seattle. I'm going to go to Yahoo. Oh, wait, no. Yeah, to get a little bit of news and injury. Dak always beats the Giants. Yeah. If only he could play him, 17 games a year? He's terrible. Oh, we had a fix. Brandon Aubrey's shocking missed field goal delivers a bad beat. So the line was 5.5, and they were up 5, and he misses the field goal. So it wasn't fixed. No. He just happened to miss it. Let me see. How long was this field goal? Missed the field goal. What was the... Oh, a 51-yard field goal. Well, that's not like a 20-yarder. Cooper Kupp is out of cast and training with Pukanuka, but they're both out. Week 4 injury tracker. George Kittle ready to return. Eagles maybe without star wide receivers. So Brown and Devontae Smith are both injured. Max Crosby's ankle, who's never missed a game with Raiders, trying to get healthy. Okay, so that's he's their main guy. Rex Ryan suggests he turned down Cowboys DC job. They couldn't pony up the money. Chiefs quarterback Mahomes isn't worried about Kelce. Lamar says he wasn't mad at the ref. No. Joe Burrow plans to be a more vocal leader. Yeah. Your 401k enough to fully enjoy retirement? Not in this world, it isn't. Not unless it's in gold coins. Browns rule out Jedrick Willis, Jan Coughlin, David Njoku. Who cares? Evan Ingram likely to play. I guess he's a guy on Jacksonville. Max Crosby, I'm doing everything I can to get healthy 3 hours ago. The Giants missed Saquon Barkley. Duh. Well, why would you let him go unless you had another running back? See, I don't know how you can be an NFL team and hire a coach, Jared Mayo on New England, who's never coached before. That's like Ford bringing in a CEO who's never managed a car company before. Yeah, they do that a lot, don't they? So George Kittle will be back for our Niners. CeeDee Lamb. Yeah, we beat the Giants. All right, let's go into the injuries. And then we'll go through the games. All right. I'm just going to go through the outs. Now I'm on Yahoo, which it's dated today, so I would think it's pretty current. And I'm just going to look for the big names. We don't really give a shit about the linemen unless it's Crosby. Marvin Harrison Jr. is questionable with quads. The way that guy played, he shouldn't be playing. Atlanta. Bijan Robinson, questionable with the shoulder. Baltimore. Baltimore is good, except for my guy Rashid Ali from Marshall. Is a great runner, but injured with the neck. Buffalo. Milano's on injured reserve, we know, but he's coming back soon, apparently. And that's it. So they're pretty healthy. Carolina, Adam Thielen's on injured reserve. Doesn't really matter. It's all up to Andy Dalton. So if we don't see Andy Dalton's name, he's the only guy we would recognize anyway. They got a Lamar Jackson. He's a cornerback he plays cornerback for Carolina and quarterback for Baltimore. No, I don't see Andy Dalton. The Bears, Keenan Allen questionable with the heel. Romo Doozy's questionable with the hip. So their 3 wide receivers are down to DJ Moore. Cincinnati, Trey Hendrickson questionable with an illness. He's that really good pass rusher. They need him. God knows their defense is not that good. Let's see. Chris Evans, running back, injured reserve with a leg. That's it. Cleveland, God, they suck. Conklin out with a hamstring, the tackle. Myles Garrett, questionable with a foot. Njoku out, the tight end. Nick Chubb, physically unable to perform he's still out with the knee injury from last year. That's what's funny about it. These guys are injured, and you're expecting them to play Sunday to Thursday. I mean, that's just ridiculous. And then you make 2 Monday night games, so 4 teams have players that are, need time to recover. It's crazy. Denver. Let's see. Mike is that's somebody else. Mostly questionable, except for the Notre Dame running back is on injured reserve with an ankle. All right, Detroit. Don't know too many of these players. Frank Ragnow, their center, is out with the pectoral. That's a big loss. He's a good center, I guess. How the fuck do you grade a center? The kicker's out with the hamstring. Cornerback injured reserve. Lineman injured reserve. Defensive lineman. Guard injured reserve. Another defensive lineman injured reserve with an Achilles. Barnes, the linebacker, injured reserve with the knee. Laporta, the tight end, questionable with an ankle. One of these Alabama cornerbacks, questionable with a concussion. And that's it. So nobody big's out. Just the center cares. Green Bay, I am curious about Jordan Love. Questionable with the knee, MCL. I'm waiting on that status. A.J. Dillon is injured reserve with the neck. That's it. Houston. Case Keenum, he's still playing. Injured reserve with a foot, so I guess he's not. Joe Mixon, questionable with an ankle. This is who, Houston? Jesus. So he left Joe Burrow for this? Was he out of his mind? Some of these money decisions these guys make are just stupid. Tank Dell, questionable with the chest. Indianapolis, DeForest Buckner on IR with an ankle. The DeForest. That was on that Kay and Peele show where the guy said DeForest Buckner. And that's where they came up with all the different funny names. I was hearing that. Let's see. Nothing much. Jacksonville, they have Evan Ingram is out, I guess, with the hamstring. Too bad that Trevor Lawrence is playing. They might have a chance. Okay, Kansas City. Hollywood Brown, injured reserve shoulder. Clyde Edwards, Chocolatey Claire, has got an illness. Pacheco, injured reserve with lower leg. And that's it. So they're pretty healthy, Kansas City. San Diego, Joey Bosa, questionable with the hip. Derwin James is out because he hit somebody, he tackled him too hard. DJ Chark's on injured reserve, a wide receiver. Justin Herbert, questionable with an ankle. Well, we need more than that. We'll probably not know until Sunday. So we got to get ready to bet him. The offensive tackle, Joe Alt from Notre Dame, is on. He's got an MCL. I thought he was out. Could have had Brock Bowers. The Rams, we know the receivers are out. Let's see, anybody else? Pukanuka, Cooper Kupp. That's it. Oakland, Devontae Adams, questionable with a hamstring. He'll play. Questionables, they'll play. It's doubtful or out that we are looking for. A whole lot of questionables here. Max Crosby, questionable with an ankle. He'll play. How good he'll play, maybe that explains why he sucked last week. Miami, Odell Beckham, that was a great pickup. He's unable to perform regular season undisclosed, so he won't be playing. Rashid Moshart is questionable with the chest. Let's see. And then we've got the whole fucking team's out. Tagovailoa, injured reserve concussion, which means they go to Skylar Thompson, who's questionable with ribs. Who's their third string quarterback? So Miami's in big dog doo-doo. Minnesota, TJ Hawkinson's out. Everson Griffin, they're all pro, I think, is questionable. Jordan Addison, their receiver's questionable. And that's it. So I wasn't sure if Darnold, who's finally getting to be a quarterback, I thought he hurt his ankle, but I don't see it. The JETS is, let's see, CJ Mosley, questionable. Yeah. I've seen Reddick. What's with this guy's? I don't know him, but contract dispute. I think they traded for him. If Aaron Rodgers can't get him to play, I don't know who can. I mean, why did he go to the Jets? That's it. Our man Rodgers is okay. New England, they have nobody, so it's not even worth looking at it. Anybody that I can recognize. Michael Jordan, he's now playing guard, but football guard. Tyrone Wheatley, no, but not the guy from Michigan. He's a tackle, another guy. So these guys change positions, I guess. New Orleans, they got a big game with Atlanta. Kamara questionable with ribs. Keep an eye on that. We need Kamara if we're going to bet New Orleans, which we don't know because it's up to Kamara playing. That's it. So it's really Kamara. We hope. Well, I'm sure they got backup running backs. The Eagles. Let's see. A.J. Brown questionable with the hamstring, and then Devontae Smith questionable with concussion. No receivers, no points. It's just going to be run Shaquem Barkley, which makes it an Army-Navy game. A questionable hamstring, he's probably out. The concussion, he's got to go through concussion protocol, Devontae Smith. Let's see. Yeah, that's it for them. The Steelers, Russell Wilson, questionable with the calf. Well, yeah. So he's not out, but he's not playing. Boston Scott, questionable, undisclosed. That's it. The 49ers. Christian McCaffrey, obviously, IR with the Achilles. George Kittle says he is playing. See, here it still says he's questionable, but he's playing. Deebo Samuel, questionable with the calf. Probably play. They lost, so these guys will probably be playing. So really, it's just McCaffrey, but they got a backup running back who's pretty good. Seattle, let's see. Kenneth Walker, questionable with an oblique. So they can just go to whatchamacallit. I'm reading so many names. Charbonnet. So not a big loss there. Tampa. Mike Evans, questionable with the knee. Vita Vea, questionable with the knee. Chris Godwin, questionable with the neck. So they'll both play. Chase Edmonds, injured reserve, will not be playing. Antoine Winfield Jr., questionable with the foot. The All-Pro safety. Bryce Hall, cornerback. No, he's on injured reserve. He won't be there. And it's going to be shitty weather. Tennessee, they have nobody. There's nobody to look at because you don't give a shit if the quarterback's out or not. He shouldn't even be in the league. It's the new thing now. Well, the quarterback can't throw, but he can run, so we'll sign him up. It's incredible. Washington. Let's see, bunch of questionables. Austin Eckler's out. That's definitely a problem. But you just don't know how good the backup is. Bryce Love, I think he was from Stanford. I remember running back. He's questionable with the knee. So he's the running back if because Eckler's out. And that's it. So that, my boys and girls, is our pro look. Now let's go into the games. So we got Pitt and Indy. We got 200 teams. We got a 9 defense with Pitt and a 20 with Indy. Fields 2-1. This is touchdowns, interceptions went after the quarterback. Richardson 3-6. This is the problem. 300 yards offense, Pitt 326. A 20 defense for Indy and that killer 9 defense for Pitt. Minnesota's an A team, 10 defense, 344 offense. Darnell 8-2. Green Bay, a B team, 19 defense, 400 yards of offense, and Willis is 2-0. So the question is Jordan Love playing? This game probably goes to an over. If he's not, maybe it's an under. Because without it, Willis ain't going to do shit against Minnesota. Jacksonville, Houston. Jacksonville, both teams are W. Jacksonville with a 28 defense, 300 yards of offense. Trevor Lawrence 2-1. Houston, a W with a 25 defense, and C.J. Stroud's 4-2, which is his things. New Orleans, Atlanta. New Orleans, an 18 with a 15 defense. Carr is 6-2. Atlanta's an under with a 20 defense. They just don't score. Cousins is 4-3. The Rams, a W team with a 30 defense after Arizona got done with them. Stafford 2-1, so they're not getting enough touchdowns. Chicago's an under team with a 19 defense, a whopping 283 yards a game with our boy Caleb, who's 2 touchdowns and 4 picks. Welcome to the NFL. Philly, an under team, 21 defense. Hurts is 3-4. We've got to check on and the receivers. Otherwise, it'll be a heavy dose of Barkley. Tampa Bay, also an under team with a 21 defense, 300 yards of offense. The Baker, 6 touchdowns and 2 picks. So he's doing pretty well. Cincinnati, an E team, not an A team. That's why we rank it. Cincinnati's an E team with a 27 defense. This is their problem. And Joe is 5-0. So Joe Burrow's doing his part. Carolina, a Z team, maybe, but we don't know anymore because Dalton was 3-0 last week against the Raiders. A 32 defense. Now, that doesn't matter about Dalton. And 281 on offense. So now Dalton comes in. Now it becomes more of an over team than a Z team, right? So it's changing because of the quarterback. So we got to keep an eye on it. And then we got to just have Dalton stats. What is their points? All right, they scored 37, probably more than they got all year last week, and now here he is again. So, they're a whole different team than Bryce Young, which shows you how bad Bryce Young is. Dalton can come in after sitting out for 2 years and light up the Raiders. Oh, okay. Denver, an under team, 15 a game on defense. Knicks is 0-4. Hasn't done a touchdown yet. He's ran for a few. Arizona, an over team, a 21 defense. And Kyler Murray's 5-1. So after seeing what Daniels did, and we know what Kyler Murray did, so should be an interesting game. San Francisco, New England. New England's an under team with a 19 defense. Brissett, 1 touchdown, no picks. The Niners, an E team with a 23 defense. Purdy is 4-1. They're still getting 420 yards of offense, even though they don't have McCaffrey. Debo Samuel and Kittle probably play this week because they lost. They're not going to lose to New England. Cleveland and Oakland. Cleveland, an under team, 22 defense. Watson, 3 touchdowns and 2 picks. He's starting to get some rust off. He still sucks. against Oakland, W team with a 27 defense. Minshew 3-3. What happened to him last week? So how do you go to beat Baltimore and then you get killed by fucking Carolina? I mean, well, we didn't. We were all pounding our chest. We beat Baltimore, and then this happened. KC San Diego. KC is an E team. They are not an A team yet. They have 21 defense, which is high for them. Mahomes is 5 touches and 4 picks, mostly against Cincinnati. San Diego, well, a little bit against Baltimore too. San Diego, an under team with an 11 defense. Herbert, 4 touchdowns, 1 interception. If he's playing, he's got the high ankle sprain. Strong defense for San Diego, so they're a good under team. KC, we'll see. All right, here's our free play, Buffalo and Baltimore. Buffalo is an A team with a 16 defense and passed for 332 yards a game. Josh Allen, 7 touchdowns and no picks. Baltimore, an over team. They give up 26 a game. They get 437 yards of offense. Lamar is 3-1. My score is 31-27. Buffalo, we are going over. That is your free play. Over 40. Just how do we not get 24-20 in this game? Seriously. Tennessee, Miami. Tennessee's the W team. They don't score. 26 defense. They get a whopping 294 a game. Levis is 4 touchdowns and 5 picks. That's, again, the problem. These high picks against Miami's a W team with the 24 defense. What W means they don't score, and they score enough that they're not a Z team, but they could be a Z team. Miami's probably a Z team. 24, they get 345 a game, but that's with Tag the first game and a half. Skylar Thompson with bruised ribs will probably play, and he sucks. He hasn't done anything yet. No touchdowns, no picks. Just played last week, and he sucks. So you can go from there. And then Seattle, Detroit. Seattle's an A team with a 14 defense. Geno Smith, 3 touchdowns, 3 picks. And Detroit is an under team now. They were an over last year. They went 2 and under. They're not scoring. They're running the ball more and not scoring. They got an 18 defense, which is much better. 410 yards a game, mostly passing. Goff, 3 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. That's why they're not an over. He was hitting all these to St. Thomas, and then this Williams guy would catch these passes. But now they get into the red zone, and making Williams the 2 receivers hurting them because they don't have – they can't score in the red zone. So then it's more field goals or this stupid let's go on 4th down because, of course, we'll make it every time on 4th down. Bad coaching, really stupid coaching. I think they figured out the offensive coordinator, just playing a 2-deep zone, and then Detroit's running the ball more, which is keeping the score down because now you're playing an Army-Navy game. Like they did against Arizona last week, they didn't do anything in the second half. I mean, if you look at Goff, half his games, he doesn't show up in the second half. And they're running the ball a lot more because he's not showing up, and he throws a lot of interceptions, so they're worried. When you see Hedden Hooker in the game, then we'll start betting over. He's a better quarterback. So, again, it's a 14 defense and an 18. What was an over team is an under team. I have 1, 2, 3. Let's see, 4. I have 5 locks going in the pros. This is a very good week for both. I won't get fooled like last week. I got fooled by Northern Illinois or USC. No, that ain't going to happen this week. Not in college. Pro, we've got most of the data now. We've got 3 weeks in. Now there'll be tweaks, like we've got Skylar Thompson. Well, that's bad. We've got Herbert with a high ankle sprain. Does he play? We've got Russell Wilson. Is he ready to go, or we still got Fields? We got Willis in instead of Love. So all these Green Bay is a great over team with Love, but with Willis they're not. So you got to be careful there. When will Atlanta go to Penix? When will Jacksonville sit Trevor Lawrence down? Darnold all of a sudden is a superstar. Caleb, when do they sit him down? Or are they going to keep losing and keep playing him, saying, well, he was the number one pick? So we've got to play him, even though we can't win with him. Let's see. Joe Burrow now you got Dalton for Carolina, goes from a Z team to an over team. If that was real last week, which again, now we got to wait a few weeks and see what he does to Cincy. How Cincy can go 0-3 is one thing. Can they really go 0-4? Can they really not beat Carolina? I mean, this is just, this is Joe Burrow and Chase are playing. So this is very, very strange here. Not sure. And the problem is they don't really look great. Because Washington, they couldn't stop them. Yeah, they got Joe Burrow, but they couldn't stop Washington. So you're scratching your head going, it's Joe Burrow and Chase. The coach needs to go. The defensive coordinator needs to be fired. They have no defense. However, they played Kansas City 26-25 or 25-24. What the fuck? So you lose to New England and you lose to Washington and you should have beat Kansas City. I don't know what to say. I mean, this should be a lock on Cincinnati, but I'm not touching a team with a 27 defense to win the game. It's insane. So anyway, that's what it is. Oakland, we got to keep an eye on Crosby. Is he playing? Cleveland, Watson stinks, but is Myles Garrett playing? So you're starting to get these injuries. So it'll be Herbert, it's Love, it's some of these quarterbacks. Russell Wilson, are they playing? So I still respect Russell. If he's playing, it's a whole different, then I'll take Pitt. But if he's not playing, then I can't. Same thing with Love. If Love's playing, it's Green Bay. But if he's not playing, you can't play the game. Cincinnati, Philly, Tampa. You got their two receivers are injured. So this is what we've got to wait on. This is why if you buy my picks, you go, where's the picks? Well, yeah, I can't make some of them because I want to wait till, if I have to, today's Friday to Saturday, and then even Sunday morning, they start announcing the players. I can make my bets just as easily Sunday morning. So I kind of wait on it. But some of them I can go with, and that's what we got to see. Anyway, questions, comments? Class tonight, 7:00. It'll be on Zoom. Go to teaserking.com, buy the college and or pro YouTube class. They're $25. So you buy that, I'll send you the Zoom link, and then we will Zoom, and I'll go through all the college picks, locks. I won't go through every game, but I'll go through most of the games and then say, here's my picks and here's my locks. And there you go for 25, or just go teaserking.com, buy the locks, buy the, this is a good week. Maybe you buy for $100, you buy everything, which is a very good deal. You're getting a lot of picks, right? You're not getting one pick. You're getting at least, I think I got 6 or 7 teasers with a lot of 4 or 5 locks, college, and you'll have at least 5 or 6 teasers with and 4 or 5 pro locks. So that's what we have. and we will see. Anyway, we got to be careful with the weather and everything else. That's about it. I might go to lunch after swim. We'll see. I ran to the grocery store. I had to get my eggs and stuff. Anyway, so that's what's going on. So have a nice day. www.teaserking.com, and we'll go from there. So if you do pay for the class, I'll see your email and I will give you the link to the Zoom, and then we'll have a Zoom with as many people as, so it'll be more than, it could be 10 people on Zoom. I don't know. It depends how many people sign up. And then if they sign up for the pros, you get all the pro picks and the locks that way, or just simply buy the picks. I got a lot of people who buy the month or buy the year, so they get all the picks anyway. Anyway, so that's what's going on. So www.teaserking.com. And we got to keep an eye on the hurricane and keep an eye on the injuries. Are these guys playing? Cam Rising, I assume, is out if the line went down. But the backup's not too bad, so they should be okay there. All right. Have a good day, everybody. We got to do our gold, don't we? Gold had dropped before class. Let's see where gold is now. It was going through the 10 o'clock derivative. Okay, it bounced back. It's 26.48. It went down from 26.69 at about 9:45. So this is the U.S. Down to 26.47. It went back to 26.56, and now it's at 26.48, which is fine. This is just, I don't know if it's options expiration. It is what, the 27th or not, but it's fine. It's sitting in the 26.50s. It'll be 27 next week. I'm surprised it didn't hit 27 yesterday. It did get to 26.84. It's on its way to 3,000. So I don't know why they're still playing derivative. This is just paper gold. This is bullshit derivative. There's nobody selling. There's no profit taking. This is not a stock. It's like profit taking a Mantle card. Nobody profit takes a Mantle card. If you do sell it, so you bought it, for $500, you got it graded, and now it's worth $70,000. You don't profit take it. You sell it for $70,000. You don't sell it for $35,000. You could profit take it, but the price won't go down. So here we'll see 26.48 at 1:30. Again, it closes at 5:45 today. So we'll go from there. All right. Have a nice weekend. Enjoy. Again, www.teaserking.com. Come to the classes, $25. I do the same thing, only fill in the blanks of who I like, who I'm betting, and the locks and everything else. Or you can buy everything for, like I said, all the locks, $75, the $100 for both college and pro for the week, or $300 for all that for the month, which is usually a lot of people like that option because it's $75 a week for everything. And I ain't going anywhere. So I only get better with age because you start getting more, you get more detail in. Now you go, oh, now I'm not going to bet Detroit over. Now they're an under bet. Or Carolina, oh, they got Andy Dalton. So you start seeing it clearly. All right. Well, have a good night and good day, good weekend. I'll be back, well, if you're on tonight. Otherwise, I will be on tomorrow morning. If I have class, it'll be at 10, and we'll just go over quick changes. Oh, Cam Rising's playing, or he's out, or whatever. Hurricane. And then I'll be on about 10. If I don't have a class, I'll be on at 10 o'clock till noon tomorrow with any updates that we got on weather or injuries or anything like that. College. And then the NFL tonight from 8 to 9. And then my normal 11 o'clock class from 11 to 1 Sunday mornings. All right. Have a good weekend then. And www.teaserking.com. Good luck. And let's make some money this weekend so we can buy more gold before we can't buy it anymore.